first item on the agenda is the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
Edie Davis. Jim Dodger. Here. Brian Ellis. Tim Engel.
Here.
Dave Hava. Brian Holman. Vic Mays.
Here.
David Mills.
Here.
Jacob Pack.
Here.
John Hawley. Steve Perry.
Here.
Adam Sickman. Sarah Stewart. Travis Willard.
Here.
Glenn Yeager.
Thank you. And real quick, we do have a new member to the commission, so we'd like to welcome Sarah Stewart. Sarah, do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself? I think most of us probably know you, but
I'm Sarah Stewart. I'm a realtor. We also own a construction company and we also own a department. So,
well, thank you and welcome
thank you
to the commission. Okay, the next item on the agenda is action on the March 28th, 2024 meeting minutes. Does anyone have any comments?
Motion to accept is presented.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next item is citizens' concerns. Seeing that there are no citizens here in attendance, we will move on from item number 5. Moving forward, new business. Next scheduled meeting is July the 25th, 2024, so basically this time next month. Then the next 2 items, these were supposed to be discussed, or at least initially brought up by me to be discussed at an ordinance subcommittee. I had to cancel that meeting, and then after additional discussions with David Call and just some readings, we thought it would be just worthwhile just to have an open discussion here amongst this group to determine if they should in fact go in front of the ordinance subcommittee for additional discussion. So the first item is the outdoor shooting range. This board did vote to recommend inclusion of indoor shooting ranges in recreational commercial. It was brought up at that time, should outdoor shooting ranges be considered, and that was actually brought up by me. And my thoughts on not necessarily the reasons for why it should be included, but should we have a definition in scope for outdoor versus indoor shooting ranges, just to show the differences between the two. And after discussions with Mr. Call, right now outdoor shooting ranges are not included in the zoning ordinances. So adding a definition to these zoning ordinances really is not needed. Because they aren't included today. That's my opinion, and I know with talking with Mr. Paul that adding something that is not included from a definition perspective would open up potentially the need to add other items that currently are not included in our zoning ordinances from a definition perspective. So it's my opinion that we move on from the outdoor shooting range being included in the zoning ordinances, but I'm also open to hear from other members as well. Does anyone have any other opinions?
There's an element of common sense in here. Find an indoor range, pretty much anything that's not indoor range would be an outdoor range.
Correct. Okay, so we will, any other comments, opinions? So we will move on from outdoor shooting range, and then the second item, which was going to be discussed at that ordinances, was the potential C1 and C2 zoning districts as it relates to single-family Class A homes, which are your stick-built homes, and then your larger, nicer manufactured homes. So we obviously removed a couple items from the C1 and C2 zoning districts, and both of those districts are different. So the first one I would like to discuss is the C1 district, and C1 districts allows for both residential and commercial uses to coexist. So retaining that Class A single-family home is my opinion, it should remain in there. On the C2 side of things, it is right now just a special permitted use. So the BZA would be the controlling or governing body for any single-family Class A home to be included in the C2 district. So that's really outside of this board's hands. So it's my opinion that on the C2 side, we leave it as is, and discussions with Mr. Cole dating back to, I think, 2003. There have only been 7 approvals through the BZA for Class A homes to date. So those are my comments. Just want to open it up for the rest of the committee. Does anyone else have any questions, comments, concerns?
I agree with what you're saying. Even on the issue of the special permits, yeah, we could remove those, but there's not that many that have been issued since 2003 anyway.
And they're going to
And
have
it
to go
is-
through the BZA to
Right,
get
and it's
approved.
pretty, well, I would say typically cost prohibitive to attempt to do that unless you just have it in the land already.
Any other comments?
So I understand class 2, somebody wanted to go to class A, or C2,
It is a special permitted
That's
use.
correct.
and then if there was C1 property, and they wanted to do a single-family class A home,
C1, yes.
how would a manufactured home,
I'm sorry.
where would a manufactured home fall?
So in the last meeting, and I don't have it here in front of me, but I'm very confident that we included manufactured home community as an addition into the single-family dwelling district, correct? Maybe not manufactured home.
Class A, as long as it's
Yeah.
Class A, 20, minimum of 20 feet wide by 40 feet. That's a Class A.
Does that answer your question?
Yeah, we eliminated the Class B uses in the last round of text amendments
I guess
in commercial.
if somebody wanted to do something like mobile home park, which I'm not asking for myself.
Right.
I see trends changing
Right.
all the time, trying to meet the needs of people. If somebody wanted to do a manufactured community with 16 or 30, whatever, however wide a mobile home would be, where would they, what category would they be looking for?
Well, you can't do it, a single wide lease community in a C1 or a C2.
You can?
No, we had talked about that in the last round of amendments, that the county commission did not want to allow that, the use of Class Bs as a lease community. So basically, the only manufactured homes in commercial are Class A. So the Class B, AKA single wide, those aren't permitted uses in commercial in C1 or C2.
If somebody wanted a lease community, I think that's what it's called, a lease community. If they wanted one in Putnam County, would it have to be in a non-zoned area? Or could they put it in like an R4?
Let's
Like
see.
a Camelot, because a Camelot, you know, at one time, that was a very nice place. It still meets a lot of people's needs.
Yeah. I'll have to check, I would have to check on that for you, Dave, unless you know right off the top of your,
RR still allows.
RR.
Lease community? Okay.
So there is a difference between the classification of, I just have a single wide home that I want to put on a single lot versus creating a development of community.
Or mobile home park versus apartment complex, cottage complex.
At least communities 2 or more is how it's defined.
Right, so that lease community falls under that
Well, the Class A is the size.
Right, but what I'm saying is there's a different classification between whether or not you're permitted to put a home on your own lot, and then there's a different classification for the leased community. Correct. That's a different line item.
Yeah.
So does the requirements for Class A still pertain to that different line item that's the leased community?
Well, I guess it would be.
It feels like I'm having a hard time explaining. what
Depending on the zoning. Yeah, I'm having a hard time following that too.
So the way that what we talked about last time was that if I have a lot that I want to put a Class B mobile home on, right, which is 20 feet or less, correct?
Well, the Class A is 20 by 40. Class B, I think, is, what is it, 14? I don't have that in
So
front of me
if I
right
have a
now.
Class B, I cannot put it on my own lot, based on what we talked about.
Well, if we're talking C1 or C2,
Correct,
no.
yeah, C1, C2.
Okay, right, no.
So, but under C1 isn't the leased community, isn't that a different classification than residential? Than just a residential
No,
lot?
the last round of text amendments, the county commissioners voted not to allow a leased community containing Class Bs. So in a C1 or C2, only Class A manufactured homes, no
So
Class
Travis,
Bs.
And we recommended that it would be included, and the county commission didn't obviously include it, correct?
That's
what it
right,
sounds like.
that's correct.
The county commission
Did not include that. in
Yeah,
either
the
C1 or C2.
recommendation from here was to allow a Class B in a leased community, but the county commission said no. They didn't want any Class Bs in any C1 or C2,
So
in any capacity.
So if
Moving
Mr.
forward.
If Mr. Willard had 5 acres in R something, and he wanted to do his single wide, then he could, if it was an R. But if he wanted to put 10 of them on his 10 acres and lease them, is that still available for him under R? Provided he follows all the other requirements for right-of-ways.
Is that RR?
So, I've got it here in front of me, RR, special permit lease community, Article 1700, which takes you to RR is allowed to have class A, B, and C. That is basically any size, single wide, and you do not have to have a permanent foundation in RR.
And that's a lease community too, as long as there's taken care of somewhere.
Yeah, in the RR, it's where there. we
Rural
do have a
residential.
lot of RR property, and then obviously in the non-zone.
Perfect, thank you.
Any other comments or questions? Okay, we'll move on, staff report.
All right. So you'll see on your iPads, file number 4 is our staff report for this month, which contains information totals that we've amassed through May. And on page 2, you'll see that in May, we had documents here. We had 21 development permits approved in May. On the next page, we had 9 plat approvals in May. You see from the graphs. The next page is page 4, where we talk about fiscal expenditures through May. Proud of the office. We are currently through 11 months of the fiscal year. We're 13% under budget for our expenditures. So far through the fiscal year, we are basically at the exact same place we were last year, actually 1% ahead as far as revenues for the fiscal year. And for the calendar year so far through May, we are 3% ahead of where we were last year. So basically, we're keeping pace with last year. But we are well under budget for our fiscal year expenditures. And page 5 is the permit status report. And I'll be glad to answer any questions anyone has there. Been a very busy summer so far. And we did state earlier that our next scheduled meeting is July 25th at 6. Though I don't believe we have anything on the agenda at the moment. So we will keep you abreast.
I don't have any questions. Does anyone? Okay, someone make a motion for adjournment?
So moved.
All those in favor? Meeting is adjourned, under record time.
That is a record.
I'm okay with it.
It's a modern.
Because that's the easiest stuff.
It's a modern.